Mishmash!
Hey, today I'm doing kind of a yappy episode. Been a while since we've done an episode like this, and we're getting to the yappy, relaxing season of YouTube, so I figured I'd just talk at you for a bit. I think overall something I should state first before we get into the meat of what I'm gonna say. At the end of the day, I love doing what I do. I get to use my actual hobby as a source of income. I'm more so doing this with the idea of this is what I think you should look out for if you have the same tendencies as me in terms of creativity. And with that, I should state that this isn't everybody's experience. Everybody's different. Because last thing I want to do is plant some seeds of doubt for somebody that really wants to get into this if you really think that you'll like it. But with that, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend. If you really dig it, consider becoming a channel member. For just $3 a month, you get to see my videos early. For $5, you get access to weekly Q&As. I'll yap about your minis. You can send them in the Mishmash Discord. And you'll also get exclusive tiers in the Mishmash Discord as well. Get to see some cool sneak peeks. And yeah, overall, just want to say a huge thank you to my channel members. You guys are the cornerstone of why I get to do what I do. Also, just want to mention, if you're interested in anything Wargames Atlantic related, especially core, you can use my affiliate link down below, and use my discount code MISHMASH5% for 5% off your purchase. Alright, enough of the promotional stuff, enough about that, let's actually talk about what I want to talk about. Biggest thing I want to talk about when it comes to the things that I had to look out for and I still to this day have to look out for in terms of doing content on the channel as far as doing miniature painting as a career for YouTube. Kitbashing has become my niche, and I think kitbashing overall has become the niche to go for when you want to stand out in the miniature painting scene, especially the 40k scene, which I think in a lot of ways has basically eclipsed miniature painting, but it's slowly moving away, which I think is a good thing, but we'll get more into that later on. The biggest thing is that I've faced in terms of doing miniature painting content and kitbashing content on the channel is I do everything myself, which is kind of silly. I do most of my editing, if not all of my editing. I do all the voiceover, I do all the painting, I do all the kitbashing, and as a result, I think overall, this has left me with more of a pile of shame than I've ever had in my entire life. There are a lot of miniatures that I've built on the channel, and I have never finished. Which is, yeah, not ideal. And I think a big part of that is painting miniatures from beginning to end in the same week as editing and doing voiceover and doing overall, just hobbying in general. That has become one of the harder things because I really do put a lot of effort into my miniature painting. I'm not the best painter. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm a great painter. I'm pretty good at what I do in very niche cases. I know what I'm good at. I know what I can capitalize on. So especially when trying to paint something that I know I'm not as good at or I'm not as experienced at, it's really difficult for me to actually finish them. And a big part of that is I do go with my aimless, kind of chaotic, improvisational creativity. I think that is kind of the cornerstone of the channel. I mean, that's why I call myself Mishmash. But I think being unstructured in what I do kind of collides with what you need to do to be successful on YouTube. And a big part of it is I do want this to be my job. I do want to make this a business. I'm kind of hindered by my own creativity with that, and not in a way where it's like, oh, woe is me. It's more just like, well, I don't want to sacrifice what I think looks good over what will do better. And I think there are times where I found out exactly what I need to do to be successful. Like, if I really wanted to make this channel as successful as possible, I would probably just do marine kit bashes forever and then move on to a niche. But I love core too much. I love doing weird shit too much. So it's one of those things where I can't force something creatively. That is probably my biggest hindrance, is I cannot force creativity. If I know something will do well, that's all fine and dandy, but if I'm not feeling it in my heart, it's not, something I can do. Which, like, at the end of the day, I like what I do. I think there's been a couple videos on my channel that I'm really not happy with in terms of the final result, or just, like, the way I went about it, or just, maybe I said some things in the wrong kind of tone, maybe I came off as something that I didn't really care for, but it's not like, I don't sit in bed at night thinking, oh god, that episode sucked. It's more just like, I want to do better, and overall, like, every episode I try to do something that's better than the last one, while maintaining kind of the formula you guys are used to. And I think that's a big thing, like, if you're interested in doing YouTube, I think if you're able to create a structure that works really well and you are very content with just continuing on that structure, you'll do just fine. But you also need to be able to reinvent yourself a little bit, create new things, kind of create new niches on top of your old ones, kind of build that foundation. But the thing is I'm really bad at committing to one theme. I am really bad at that. And as a result, I think my channel's kind of been all over the place. I've kind of considered making like a couple channels for like different war games, but that would kind of spread me a little thin, and I don't think that would work out as well. I don't know, it's one of those things that I think I know what to do better to make the channel thrive more, but at the same time, if I'm doing something that I don't think is necessarily what I want to do, I think that comes off pretty, plainly to people. When you're not fully enjoying what you're doing, it is very apparent. I think it's very transparent to just about anybody. And personally, I think it means more to be passionate about what you do, especially in an art niche. I mean, you can totally be nonchalant about it. It's not my favorite thing. It's weird. I don't really watch as much YouTube content now that I'm actually doing YouTube. But overall, my point being is maintaining the fun factor for myself is almost as important as making the videos look good, as making the miniatures look good, making the content appealing, And what it really comes down to is it's a tale as old as time, factoring in the most emotional aspects of my life and my mind and my creative desires with the, logical and smart thinking bits of my brain that is running the channel like a business. And it's why, I've had a lot of sponsorship offerings for the channel, and I've never really taken them because I don't really think they're that, relevant to what I'm doing. Some of them are just really weird, and some of them are just, I don't think it would actually do me any favors overall. I think it would actually push people away. So I try to be very selective about those kinds of things. I don't know, maybe that's me just overthinking, maybe you guys don't give a shit about that. Whatever. I think another big factor too is I really am a slow painter. I take way too much time with my stuff, you know what I mean? And honestly, I think dropping my ego sometimes might be best. Lately, and I don't really use them that often besides airbrushing for just base colors. I've been using a lot of contrast colors lately and speed paints. And as a result, I get miniatures done faster. I don't exactly like the look as much because I think my painting style is, I grew up with the classic Citadel base, shade, highlight, layer, blah, 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 that, the four-step program, whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of hard to rework that art style. It's hard to rework something that you've been doing for so long. And it's getting easier for me. I don't know, the core miniatures that I painted in the last episode, I don't think they look great by any means, but I think they're pretty good. I don't know. For something that I just kind of whipped up in a day, I'm not going to complain. See, this is the thing that I'm kind of realizing while recording this is it's good for me to record this out loud and hear what I'm saying, because there's a difference between stopping to think about something and overthinking it and really stopping to think about something. Not having a bunch of blabbering, not saying what you think you should say, but really taking in what exactly you need to do to enjoy it more, or just accepting what is maybe less possible for yourself. And it's also good to bounce things off your friends, So that's a big factor too. I think another thing that is kind of tying into the whole pile of shame thing that I need to talk about is I have totally been guilty of purchasing things on a whim because I think it would be good for an episode, and then I never do anything with it. It doesn't happen super often. Usually when I purchase something, I think about exactly what I think I should do with it, or I have a plan for at least a few of the miniatures. Usually this comes out of finding a good bargain deal on eBay or something, and I think, oh, cool, spare bits for this, or spare bodies for this. And then I just, and I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter so long as I finally get to doing it. But that is basically a manhole cover to the pipeline that is the pile of shame. which I don't want to fall down that hole. Like, it's funny, when I first started the channel, my main idea was to be a channel that's cleaning the pile of shame. Just painting random things that I've had over the years and just doing episodes on them. And I'm sure plenty of people are just going to say like, oh, just do that. Just make more episodes of that. Going back to I edit everything myself. I paint everything myself. I voice over. I don't know. It's weird for me because like I paint in such an unstructured method too that I think my painting style is hard to edit. So part of me is like the idea of subjugating an editor to go through my clips and try to find everything in its right place. I don't like doing that to people. So, and I don't think it's like difficult to like recreate my editorial style. So I think it is just a thing of like, just drop your ego, maybe hire an editor, and more videos could happen. So I don't know. This is turned into just me rambling. So I guess to kind of bring things more to a positive angle, like some of the best things that have happened to me because of the channel has been, you know, discovering new war games and, you know, finding things that I think really make more sense to me. I mean, the amount of friends I've gotten out of doing this, the more I've been open with my painting. Because not only was I a recluse with my hobby for a number of years, I was a recluse with myself. So in a lot of ways, this has gotten me out of my shell. So I would say that's a pretty cool thing. And on top of it, it's really kind of led me to learn new things about myself and learn new things about what I enjoy painting. And it's really broadened my horizons on what I want to paint. Because Quar is something that I probably would have wanted to paint outside of doing YouTube. But as a result, it's gotten me into things beyond Quar, beyond Warhammer. It's gotten me into Old Hammer. It's gotten me into, you know, cooler game systems that I want to try. It's gotten me to want to play war games. I don't really play war games, and I want to do it now. I think the overall message that for myself and for you, if you're interested in doing YouTube as a, you know, thing for your hobby, for your creative interests, is being creative while also being organized is really imperative to being successful. And I, for one, I'm not the most organized guy. And overall, I think YouTube has kind of helped me with learning how to be more organized and to be better about actually learning from my mistakes, learning how to do better, learning what works and doesn't work creatively, and, you know, what translates to a better video and more fun experience for the viewer. But hey, that's just my experience. Overall, I'd say this is one of the best things that ever happened to me. I love doing this. It's gonna be hard to ever think about stopping doing this. So, again, it's not really to dissuade you, it's not to make you, not to plant any seeds of doubt. I just know that for some people, doing YouTube kind of ruins their hobby for them, and I would hate for somebody to think about getting into it and eventually just not liking what they do as a result, because they don't know things that can happen. So, but anyway, I've yapped enough for one video. I do appreciate you listening if you made it to the end. It's kind of fun to do these once in a while, and it's good self-reflection for me. So, with that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend, and remember to mishmash, kitbash, and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.